There Good morning. And thank Jessica for being our bell ringer this morning. Welcome to Theodore Parker Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Mary Ann, and I'm a tenor in the chorus with the TP Singers. My spouse Nancy and I have been coming to this church for about 25 years, and the church is a very important part of our lives. I'm delighted that congregants Ruth Kahn and Keydel are the lay leaders for this week's service that examines the idea of liberating love. As we enter into worship, we bring with us all of the sorrows and joys of the week. And we know that here we are held in loving community. Here we are reminded that we're part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in this bruised and broken world. Here we invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. And just a note before we proceed, the projector has been a little wonky this morning and not entirely reliable, so if it goes on or splutters or goes off, don't worry about it, we're on the case. So, for those of you joining us in person this morning, a few things that you may want to know. Our congregation is mask optional, but if you would like to sit in an area that is exclusively masked, then it's way over on the my far left. And so that area is reserved for people wearing masks. You can also use the QR codes that are on the back of the pew in front of you to pull up the order of service on your phone. Or you could have taken not now, but you could have taken one of the large print copies that are available in the foyer. Our service is being recorded today, and it will be available later also on YouTube. And if you would like to have a joy or concern shared with the congregation today during our meditation and prayer, we invite you to fill out a card anytime before the meditation hymn, and place it on the table to the right. It's over here. You may also light a silent candle of joy or concern at any time during the worship service. People of all ages are welcome to move about in the sanctuary as you need to, or make yourselves comfortable. Oh, and we have some very comfortable people sitting upright in front of the pews here. Children's programming for elementary school age children is happening today. So they'll be going out. We'll be sending them out soon. And during the service, our child care provider, Abby, is available to be with nursery-age children in the nursery located in the parish hall. Many thanks to Joel Neiditz, who's our camera point person today, and to Sarah Saperstein, who is our Zoom usher. And if you're new to the Theodore Parker Church or are visiting today, we'd love to stay in touch. You're welcome to fill out a connection card, which will give you the opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates, and will also help us to welcome you. A link to the connection card will be in the chat, as well as our contact information for those of you on Zoom. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill out the contact card you'll find in your pews within the welcome brochure. So we'd like to take a moment to greet one another. For those of you on Zoom, putting your video on at this time will help us connect. And Joel, would you please put the screen onto gallery view so that we can see everybody who's off-site. And this will give each of us a time to offer a big wave, those of us in the sanctuary, to give a big wave to the folks. The camera is right underneath the clock. Great. As we continue to greet each other, if online, you can post a hello in the chat. And if you're physically in the sanctuary, we invite you to greet one another and say good morning. And please ask for consent before offering a hug or a handshake. And then I will be, after our period of greeting, I'll be hitting the chime that's up here. And then we will be hearing this wonderful prelude by Yukiko playing Edward McDowell's To a Wild Rose. So come and introduce yourselves.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. My name is Tom Keydel, and our opening words today are by Eric Williams. We all emerge. We all emerge from, dwell within, are transformed by, and called back to love. May your mind be humbled before this mystery. May your heart grow hopeful by it. May you be sustained by this love always. Please join me now in the opening hymn, number 130, O Liberating Love.
Please rise in body or spirit. O liberating rose that glows on ragged sand, your beauty helps our hearts lose power to condemn. Your buds are light with prophecy, your thorns are offer poetry. You sign the whole and gift of life. O liberating fire that calls for cleansing rage, whenever hurtful lies distort our present age, your dancing dreams are liberty to challenge surgeon dignity. You sign the whole and faith of life. O liberating song, whose echo now we sing, your lyrics swelling line rekindle strengthening. Your harmonies portray the time when seeds we sow shall bloom sublime. You sign the whole and hope of life. O liberating love, we hear you in a sigh. We glimpse you when we see a wet or weary eye. We touch you when our hands extend to soothe or to embrace a friend. You sign the whole and source of life.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruth Kahn, and I've been coming to Theodore Parker Church since 2016. It's always a joy to be with all of you. Please join us in saying our shared covenant, once in English and once in Spanish, in honor of our sibling community in Pueblos, El Salvador. The words will be on the screen. Love is the source of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
I'm here to say them in Spanish. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia. El servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Good morning. Good to be with you all this morning. My name is Rose. I serve as this congregation's religious educator, and I have a story to share this morning. I also have some helpers for this story who are very excited to help. Abigail, Cecile, and Eleanor. Do you want to come up and start to grab our props? Okay, this is in no way rehearsed, so we'll see how this goes. So remember, there are 2 buckets, 1 person per bucket, and then 1 person who is carrying. There we go. Okay, we're all going to start over here, this side of the stage. This is a story that I've seen called many different names over time. I'm going to call it the Water Bearer's Garden. This version I have is by Betsy Hill Williams, but again, there have been many different versions over time. The Water Bearer's Garden. A long time ago, in a faraway place, there was a person whose job it was to carry water from a stream back to their master's house every day. Every day, they had to carry this water. So we'll call them the water bearer. The water bearer had 2 large pots. You want to hold up the pots? There they go. There are the 2 large pots for this water. And they hung each of them on either end of a pole that the water bearer carried on their back. So maybe we'll have a pretend pole to carry the 2 waters. As you might have noticed from these 2 pots, one of these pots had a big crack in it. Do you want to hold up that pot so everyone can see? Big crack in that pot. So when the water bearer took the pots from their master's house over to the stream, filled up the water in the stream, and then carried the water back, what do you think happened with the water that was in the cracked pot? It fell out, exactly. Every day, a lot of the water fell out of this pot. But they just kept on doing it every day. Leave the master's house, go to the stream with the 2 pots, fill them up at the stream, carry them back, and lose about half of the water from the cracked pot every single day. This went on for about 2 years. And one day, of course, so the perfect pot, the one that had no cracks in it, was very proud of its accomplishments. Perfect for the end to which it was made. And the cracked pot felt really bad about itself. It was ashamed of its imperfection. And it was ashamed that it could only accomplish about half of what it meant to do. And after about 2 years of this same routine of going to the stream, carrying the water back with the cracked pot, one day the pot decided to speak to the water bearer. The cracked pot said, "I'm ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you." The water bearer said, "Why? What are you ashamed of?" Cracked pot said, "For these past 2 years, I've only been able to deliver half of my load because of the cracks in my side and the way that they leak the water out. Because of my flaws, you have to do all of this work, and you don't get the full value from your efforts." The water bearer felt sorry for the cracked pot, and with compassion, he said, "Let's do our same journey again. Let's walk to the stream and walk back. And as we walk back, I want you to notice something. So let's do it together. Let's walk to the stream, fill up our water, and walk back." As they walked back, the water bearer said to the pot, "Look at the side of the path on which I carry you every day." Imagining a path along here that we're walking every day. Look at the side with the cracked pot. The water bearer asked the pot, "What do you notice?" The pot looked down and saw that on that side of the path, there were flowers, beautiful wild flowers that had been blooming just on that side, not on the other side. The pot noticed this, and the water bearer said, This was my plan. I noticed that you've been leaking water this whole time. I've always known about your flaw, and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds along the path, and every day when we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years, the water bearer said, I've been able to pick beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without you being just the way you are, we never would have had this beauty in our lives. The water bearer said, each of us have our unique flaws. We are all cracked pots. And in God's great web of life, nothing goes to waste. Don't be afraid of your flaws. Acknowledge them, and you too can be the cause of beauty. Know that in our weaknesses, we find strength. Thank you all. That concludes our story for this morning. Thank you so much to my helpers. And now I'm going to invite you all to join me in singing our children's benediction, and we'll go out to Children's Chapel together.
Children's Chapel. Wait, where?
For you shall go out in joy. For you shall go out in joy and come back in peace. And come back in peace. Blessed
As we deepen into a space of meditation and prayer, I invite you to enter into this moment here, now. Feel the earth's gravity holding you up. Take a few nurturing breaths and give yourself over to the time of stillness. If you are here in the sanctuary and would like to include a joy or concern this morning, you can fill out a prayer card during the centering hymn. The prayer cards are located right next to the candles over here. If you are joining us on Zoom and would like to share a joy or concern during our time of meditation and prayer, I invite you to type that into the chat now, and Sarah will read them a little later. I invite you to remain seated and join in singing our centering hymn, Be That Guide, number 24.
Be that guide whom love sustains, rise above the daily strife, lift on high the good you find, help to heal the hurts of life. Be that helper nothing daunts, doubt of friend or taunt of foe. Ever strive for liberty, show the path that life should go. Be that builder trusting good, bitter though the test may be, through all ages they are right, though they build in agony. Be that teacher faith direct, move beyond the old frontier, though the fright and fear that faith be tomorrow's pioneer.
And now, if Nancy would hand me the joys and concern cards. Thank you. Marcia says, at the retirement village where I work, we've had 10 deaths this month. It's hard on families and staff. One person was 3 weeks short of her 110th birthday. And Nancy Wilbur says, hope for the Jennifers and Carrie's sons. And Carrie and her son, recovering to go easily and quickly. And Sarah, if you would read any joys and concerns that are in the chat.
Yes, thanks, Ruth. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. David and Joyce Smith share a joy at the birth of their first grandchild this week, Alina Helena Smith. Carol Allen shares an ecstatic joy for a marvelously inspirational concert last night at the New Moon Coffee House in Haverhill featuring Joe Crookston. Karen Bishop shares thanks to Tom and Ruth for this joyful, uplifting service. Clydia Davenport shares today is her daughter Sophie's 27th birthday. And Mary Russell gives thanks for the love of her dear friend, Glenn McMillan. And that's it in our chat. Thanks everyone for sharing.
And Hans says, reading Bart Ehrman's new book on the Bible, Clarifying Armageddon, in Book of Revelation by John of Patmos. Thank you, dear friends. Now let us join together in a space of prayer and meditation.
Our meditation prayer today comes from Rachel Lamb. It's entitled, May You Fall Madly in Love This Year. May you fall madly in love this year, in love with someone who unhinges your tired trajectory, in love with a spouse of several years who might be aching or lightening, in love with demanding children and crazy relatives, in love with the particular pedigree of genius and sanity that has perhaps claimed you in spite of your reluctance, and certainly in love with an animal, a cloud, a redwood, the wild. These at least once a day. May you fall in love with this fragile jewel of a world, with hard work, real learning, just causes, petitioning, and prayers. May you fall in love with wonder itself, with the grand mystery, with all that feeds you in order that you may live, and with the responsibility that confers. May you fall in love with the heartbreak and seeing how it is stitched into everything. May you fall in love with the natural order of things and with tears, tenderness, and humility. May this be a magnificent year for you. May you fall deeply, madly, hopelessly, inextinguishably in love. Together we rest into several moments of shared silence, followed by our musical meditation.
The reading this morning is entitled Meant for Beauty and Love. It's by the Reverend Julian Hameko Soto. I need you to know that there is nothing wrong with you if you find the world congealed and unwieldy. You were never meant to serve money, to give loyalty to unprincipled power, to spend your joy frantically soothing yourself in order to tend wounds of being constantly dehumanized. I need you to know that your sense of injury and anger is not overdeveloped. You are meant for love and beauty. You belong where you are known and where your future is not just a resource, but a promise, which you begin to fulfill by being unmistakably, irrevocably yourself. You are not wrong. And now is the time in our service when we want your great selves to financially support the church. It's time for the offertory. Generosity is a spiritual practice. We give to remind ourselves of how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space. We give to liberate the love we feel so others can feel that too. Links to donate will be in the chat, or you can take a meditative moment writing out a check and sending it to the church after the service. Ushers will be coming around in the sanctuary to collect an offering from those in the pews who wish to donate something more tangible. As Marcia and Adam Feldman share It's Been a Long, Long Time by Stein and Kahn, an offering to sustain this congregation of memory and hope will be gratefully received. Thank you.
Never thought that you would be standing here so close to me. There's so much I thought that I should say, but words can wait until some other day. Just kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I dreamed about you, and just how empty they all seemed without you. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time.
It's been a long, long time. There's a big band song from 1945. It takes the perspective of a person welcoming home their spouse at the end of World War II. Louder. I love this song because it has a kind of soft shoe rhythm. You can almost feel the smooth, leisurely cadence of a gentle tap dance that was so common during that era. In 1945, this song was certainly a liberating one. After years of wartime upheaval, Americans finally got the release from being under the sword of Damocles. Now things could go back to a regular familiarity. They could be familiar and friendly again, or as the lyric goes, I haven't felt like this, my dear, since I can't remember when. Are you meant for love and beauty? Reverend Soto's wonderful poem about being meant for love and beauty highlights some of the challenges we face accepting ourselves as leaky buckets who can only do part of what we feel called to do. It seems so normal to second-guess ourselves and to assume that we are simply doing it wrong. Love and beauty are meant for someone else. So we fool ourselves into believing that it's okay, or even right, to deny ourselves what we want. It can be a terrible trade. If we never come to accept ourselves, then we simply pass over the love and beauty that is around us all the time. And for me, there was a time when I was making just that kind of terrible trade. The sword of Damocles hung in the air. The burden of responsibility was more important to me than pleasure, and I felt like I was going to make a terrible mistake. So here is my coming out story. That is the very first moment when I was able to say to myself clearly and unequivocally that there is nothing wrong with me as a gay person. In hindsight, it's difficult as it was for me to come out, and I came out rather late comparatively. It was also the simplest thing in the world. And I think that's the primary action of liberating love. The thing that makes you unique is also the simplest thing to become aware of, if you can let yourself be open to it. Liberating love is an action. It's simple, and you must be open to it. And that last part, being open, is what is so liberating. So back in the early spring of 1989, some 36 years ago, I had been in therapy for several months, and my therapist had been putting the question of worth and personal growth right up front, right up close. And he wasn't giving in to any of my well-practiced defenses, touché for him. And what's more, his approach was without any sense of urgency at all. Rather, with a softer, more open sense that there is more to you than what you are choosing to look at. There was a kind of soft shoe dance going on between the two of us. He asked, does being gay really cost you anything? Now, at the time, I thought that was a simple question. Yes, it did. Family rejection is one thing, but the AIDS crisis was killing gay men in droves, so it was not a choice to be made lightly. However, my therapist's question was also very peculiar. Is my identity really what I think it is? Am I even sure that what appears to be negative is really negative? And we assume that it's our choice, and clearly that may not be the case. And who knows? If I have only one perspective, can I change mine now? So with all of those questions in my head, I left work early one day, and I was walking past the Fritz on Chandler Street, a local gay bar. Some of you might remember it. At that hour of day, there would not have been many people there. But on that day, there must have been some participation for a line dance competition, or so I thought, because there was no one alongside the bar. All the men were out on the dance floor, doing something like the electric slide, which was popular at the time. You might remember it. So I go in and I watch. And of course, I'm thinking about leaving because I'm probably not supposed to be there. But out there on the dance floor, there were maybe 25 men dancing in 3 or 4 lines. And what struck me was the unity of it all. And for a time, all I could do was just watch. They were there, enjoying the day, their time together, the music that made them move, and that wonderful opportunity to move together in unison. So I asked myself, does being gay really cost me anything? It's quite an interesting moment when a negative turns into a positive. It's the kind of reversal that can really pull the rug out from under you. Liberating love is an action. It's simple, and you must be open to it. And that's how it happened. From that moment on, there was nothing wrong with me because there was nothing wrong with them. I couldn't push away life-giving sense that here they was meant to be more than I was choosing to look at. So, what part of liberating love has played in my life? It's made me more aware that that there can be good in this world, even when things don't seem to be working. The life-giving sense that I am meant for love and beauty, if I just remain open to it. Thank you.
This is a song called Our Love Is Here to Stay by the Gershwin Brothers. The more I read the papers, the less I comprehend the world and all its capers and how it all will end. Nothing seems to be lasting, but that isn't our affair. We've got something permanent, I mean in the way we care. It's very clear, our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. Telephone and the movies that we know may all be passing fancies, and in time they'll go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time, Gibraltar may tumble, Gibraltar may crumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. If you'll bear with me, I'll go up to the pulpit now. Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Oh, good. One of my favorite movies of all time is An American in Paris. This film uses the music of George Gershwin to tell a love story set in Paris just after World War II. I can hear Gene Kelly singing "Love is Here to Stay" as he and Leslie Caron stroll and dance together in a romantic interlude. This was our song, my late husband's and my song. In fact, we engraved "Our Love is Here to Stay" on our wedding bands. Liberated love frees you up to love now and forever. I experienced this with Paul Kahn, my late husband, from the beginning of our courtship throughout our marriage, and now many years after his death. My acceptance of Paul's disability and our collaborative relationship liberated each of us to be our full selves. By accepting Paul as he was, I was able to accept myself, and that is true liberating love. I experience liberating love whenever I think about Paul. He was an artist, poet, and playwright who had a congenital neuromuscular disability. His power wheelchair and ventilator were just part of who he was. I couldn't imagine Paul without them. He was one of the most self-aware people I ever met. He harbored no dream of being cured. Rather, he insisted on being accepted as he was. He insisted on being accepted as he was. His dreams were to be a successful artist, to live interdependently, and to be a loving husband. In the 1980s, we met as collaborators, editing a newsletter for the disability community, and quickly we became friends. We went to concerts, theater performances, and exhibits at the Museum of Fine Arts. Sometimes I would visit Paul in his home at a Section 8 apartment building in Newton for seniors and people with disabilities. We would sit in his apartment and talk about art, share a meal, read some poems, and who else but Paul would be willing to spend an afternoon listening to a recording of The Mikado by Gilbert and Sullivan. After we were married, by a UU chaplain, by the way, we continued our collaboration with projects such as Access Expressed, a newsletter for the arts and disability communities, and the film Key Changes, a portrait of jazz singer Lisa Thorson. But we were most proud to experience the same joys as any married couple. Paul and I had 21 years together. In 2010, he died at age 64, living longer than any doctor would have predicted. We had a great run. I used to think that when a spouse dies, the idea was to let them go so that you could move on with your life. Thankfully, I have learned that my soulmate lives on in my memory, but also in the here and now, especially in art and nature. This eternal love liberates me with joy every day. During my initial grief, when I visited a friend in northern New Mexico, I discovered that mourning calls for stunning mountain vistas stretching into infinity. I felt Paul's presence, and I knew that I was liberated to love him for all time. Now, I live in a lovely house overlooking the Arboretum. Paul sits on my shoulder when I go for walks in the Arboretum, audio describe a theater performance, and sing at a TPC church service. Here's a poem I recently wrote, The Rainbow on Peter's Hill. Yesterday, Paul appeared in a rainbow, illuminating the sky in wide bands of pastels. The colors intensified, then faded away, reminding me that liberating love is about letting it stay. My husband, my soulmate, my collaborator, shared solid sculptures, stunning portraits, witty verses, and moving plays. He nourished us and our dear cat Cairo with deep listening, blessed intimacy, and unconditional support, all while managing his complex disability. The ventilator whirred and pulsed for as long as our marriage. Paul supervised his crew of personal care attendants and maintained his inventory of medical supplies, but never at the expense of a Tanglewood concert, a visit to the museum, a theater performance, dinner with friends, or a cultural access meeting. Paul's life ended 14 years ago. I used to think that letting go of love was like shutting a door and walking away. Now I know that I have liberated our love by allowing it to rest companionably on my shoulder as I cultivate new loves. Yes, our love is here to stay. And now we'll have our closing hymn, Love Will Guide Us. Thank you, Michael.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. May be seated.
Before our closing words, I have a few announcements and invitations. Please join us for coffee hour in the parish hall or the breakout rooms on Zoom. Creating Theology Together, adult RE class led by Rose in the follow-up on the building to our own theology. Please fill in a registration form in the e-news or talk to Rose after church if you're interested in joining. Ministerial Startup Workshop, save the date, January 27th at 10 to 12:30. Chance for us to learn a little bit more about stories and identities here at TPC. May you learn something about the congregation and you will help Reverend Heather learn a lot more about Theodore Parker Church. Looking for hosts for our next round of candlelight potluck dinners, though they don't have to be a dinner. See Meredith St. John for any more information. The next Journey Dance, exploring spiritual practice through movement, will be on February 12th. Please join us. And now our closing words for today's service are by Jane E. Maudlin. Now may the love of truth guide you. The warmth of love hold you. The spirit of peace bless you this day and in the days to come. Amen. Now we will hear a postlude, Metamorphosis number 4 by Philip Glass.
Yeah, yeah.
He appreciated you. And it was a wonderful song.
The song is wonderful. Sounded great. Yeah.
We have some gloves here.
I want to hear it over and over.
Gloves.
Not aware. Oh, good. Yes. Participating. Really appreciate it.
David Bridges, sorry, I just want to make sure you realize and understand that I don't judge other people who choose to have same-sex couples. So that was not my intention. I really don't want people to judge for themselves. Anything to do with same-sex or opposite sex.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
How are you? My pleasure.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Hi, I'm Ruth.
Glad you were here to hear it. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey!
Very good, sir.
Good to see you here.
Good to see you too. Yeah. Very personal services.
Yeah.
About two people that I think
It's part of the reason why we have lay-led services, I think. Self-revealing. Hey, I am shocked that you needed to tell me to speak up. Oh, okay. But this is really funny because almost nobody ever says speak up. It's almost, can you tone it down a bit? Oh, I know. Oh, that was bizarre. I was going like that. It's never happened to me in a long time. But everyone said, speak up. What? Okay. All right. Have an idea. Yeah, we have to use the hearing. I honestly didn't think I was that far away from the mic. It didn't move it up.
Nice job. Thank you so much.
That was an important add-in to move forward. Rather than that,
Yeah, see, Joel, even on mine, I can see. It was definitely a radio station because I could hear music coming.
I thought it was my imagination. I thought that there was something wrong.
Yeah, that's where I was hearing it from. And my mom texted me and said that there was a radio station sound. She was the one who also told me about the video. So, I'm gonna actually check right now and see if I can hear the radio station.
Oh, great. Thank you again, everybody. That's true always. There was a long time, pretty task, I would say, in my case. I